What's going on, everyone? Xavier here, and welcome back to another Make Academy lesson. If you're just joining, I'm documenting my journey from complete beginner to running my own AI automation agency. I'm following a 3-phase plan to get me there, but it all starts with mastering workflow automation. That's why we're speeding through these lessons. After completing the foundation section, we're now getting more technical in the basics section. Today I'm covering units 2 and 3 of the modules, scheduling, and bundles course. We're learning about search and action modules, which are crucial for building real client automations. If you want a full breakdown of my business plan, I'll put that video here as well as in the description below. But with that being said, let's jump into today's lessons. All right, so here we are back in the course. We're on unit 2, which is different types of modules. And this one explores the search module. Welcome to the second unit in course 1 of Make Basics. Over the next 2 units, you'll explore new types of modules and be able to distinguish between an action module and a search module. For this unit, you will focus on the search function. In order to complete this unit, you will need to import the following blueprint, which I believe we already did in the last video. If you need the JSON blueprint, you can just click on the zip here, or you can just click on the JSON here. I'm gonna click next. Recap. Before we start on this topic, let's refresh your knowledge of modules. Within Make, what is a module? An automation that is set to run at a scheduled time, an element that is added within a scenario, a connection to a service. I believe it's this one. An element that is added within a scenario. Cool. A module is an element that is added to a scenario. So far, the Make Foundations use case has added modules from Weather and Google Sheets. Let's look at other types of modules. All right, I'm gonna click next. The search module. The modules that have been used so far are all action-based. Our scenario retrieves the weather and adds a row to a sheet. The next module type that we will explore is the search module. Click each header to learn more. What is the search module? As the name suggests, the search module allows you to search for specific data within the database or other data source. Search modules usually return multiple items and cannot modify the data. You can just view it. Usually, this is used to get data such as a report or a list. Some examples of the search module would be Miro list boards, retrieves a list of all boards, or Slack get a channel, retrieves details about a channel. Why is this search module useful? The search module can be useful for finding specific records or for narrowing down a large data set to only show relevant information. You can search for specific keywords or phrases or filter data based on certain criteria. Use cases. For example, you could use the search module to find customers who are in a specific city or have made a purchase within a certain price range. The next exercise will make this much simpler. You will use the search module to retrieve data on a certain weather type / temperature. Click next. Before you begin, adding headers to your Google Sheet. Let's tidy up the Google Sheet that you created in the previous unit. Open your Make Basics use case Google Sheet. Ensure that the column headers are named Date in A, Temperature in B, Status in C, and Description in D. As shown below, add a new column in E and name this Suggestion. So I'll just add this extra column here in E. Next slide. Import your new blueprint. Open your Make Basics use case scenario, click the 3 dots, and import blueprint. Ensure that you are importing Make Basics U02 blueprint. This will overwrite the previous scenario. We don't need that anymore. Your Make Basics use case scenario should now look like this. Ensure that the connection is created on the Google Sheets Add a Row module, and under Spreadsheet ID, select Make Basics use case. Under Sheet Name, select Sheet 1. So it looks like we're actually gonna be using a different blueprint than the one that we imported yesterday. So I'm just gonna take this new blueprint from the introduction screen, right click, save as, and I'm gonna save it as the U02 blueprint. Now we can go to our scenario, open the 3 dots, import blueprint, choose file, save. And then we just gotta make sure that the Google Sheets module is configured. So add your connection, add the Spreadsheet ID, Make Basics use case, sheet name, sheet 1. And these first 4 values should populate automatically. Just gonna click save and save the scenario, and then click next. Adding the search module. The new blueprint that you have imported and configured will contain 3 modules. Get the weather, add a row, and a router. Run your scenario 3 times. This will populate your Make Basics use case Google Sheet with some data. The next step is to add a Google Sheets module from the router. You will notice when you scroll down your available options that the modules are categorized by rows cells, and sheets. Under rows, click the search rows option. So we're adding another Google Sheet module, but this time instead of add a row, we're looking for search rows, and we're gonna add it after the router. So let's do that. Click this plus sign, Google Sheets, and we're looking for search rows. Next slide. Open the newly added module. On the configuration page, scroll down and select the following options. Spreadsheet should be make basics use case. Sheet name should be sheet 1. Filter should be temperature. We need numeric operators, and they should be less than or equal to 19. We also need to add or rule, status, text operators equal to clouds, and a limit of 3. It wanted me to actually populate some information before I added this other module. So I'm gonna actually just remove this. I'm gonna delete this for now, just so I can populate some data into my spreadsheet here. So I'm just gonna run this 3 times, just like that. And if we go into our spreadsheet here, you can see that we have the data that we just gathered from the scenario here, right? And now I'm gonna go back into here and add my other Google Sheets module that they wanted us to add, which was the search rows. And now they want us to configure this module. So spreadsheet ID, make basics use case. Sheet name is sheet 1. We're gonna have a filter here. So we're gonna make this filter temperature and make a numeric operator less than or equal to 19. So filter out temperature, and we need a numeric operator less than or equal to, and then 19. We're also adding a or rule for status, and then text operator equal to clouds. So or rule, status, text operator equal to, and then right below type clouds. And then the last thing we're doing on this slide is a limit of 3. And you can see limit here. I'm just gonna type 3. Save it and save the scenario. So we're good on this page. I think we got all of the things we need to configure. Now I'm gonna click the next slide. Repeat these steps by adding an additional search rows module to the bottom path from the router, and select the following options. Spreadsheet should be make basics use case. Sheet name is sheet 1. The filter is going to be temperature, and we need a numeric operator that is greater than or equal to 20. So it's pretty much the opposite of the top search rows module. We're just changing the numeric operator to greater than or equal to 20. And they also don't have us adding any other conditions or criteria. So let's add this other search row module underneath our initial one. Google Sheets, search rows, we're already connected. Spreadsheet ID, make basics use case. Sheet name, sheet 1. We have another filter for temperature. We need a numeric operator, but this time greater than or equal to, and the number is going to be 20. Just make sure that's correct. Sheet 1 temperature greater than or equal to 20, and then we have a limit of 3. Make sure to save that and the scenario. Click this next slide. Let's summarize what you have just added. Both of these modules will return 3 search results if they exist within your make basics use case spreadsheet. Right click both of the new modules and click run this module only. You will see this module in action, and if the results exist within your spreadsheet, it will return 3 bundles of information. So it wants us to run these 2 new search row Google Sheet modules individually by right clicking and clicking run this module only, just to return some bundles into our spreadsheet. And since we had a limit of 3 on both of them, when we click run this module only, it should return 3 bundles each. So let me just do that here in our scenario. I'm gonna right click the top one, run this module only, and you'll see that we have the 3 bundles that we generated here with the 1 input bundle. I'm gonna do the same with this bottom module, run this module only, and you see we get the same result. Now the information on this will be different depending on where your location is. I believe this is actually still set to London, so it's not even my city, doesn't really matter at the moment because we're not using this scenario for real world application at the moment, but you'll see that the bundles reflect the information of the location that you have set. So this will differ depending on your location and the information you have put inside the source module. So I was actually wrong when I said running this module only would populate information in the actual spreadsheet, because you can see that even though we had those 3 bundles pop up in both of the destination modules, that the information did not populate in our spreadsheet. And that's because we hit the right click and run this module only. If we were to run the whole entire scenario by clicking run once or having it scheduled, once these 3 bundles generated from these 2 destination modules, it would populate in the Google Sheets. I'm gonna click on the next slide. The output bundle can be viewed by clicking the bubble. Click this to view an example. So I already showed you, but when you click on the bubble, you can see all of the bundles that were generated. Congratulations, you have just added your first search function to your scenario. That's all you need to do for this stage. Within the next module, we will look at how we can use and manipulate this information and take action from this. All right, so click next, and that's the end of the unit. We can go on to the 3rd unit, which is also different types of modules, but this one talks about action modules. So I'm just gonna click mark this task as complete. All right, unit introduction. Welcome to unit 3 of the first course in Make Basics. In this unit, we will focus on a specific action function, update a row. This will be a valuable concept to learn, as it will showcase manipulating data that we already have. In order to participate in this activity, you will need to have completed the previous unit and created the Make Basics use case scenario. Okay, so we did that. Click next. Action, update a row. By this point, you should now have added 2 search functions to your Make Basics use case scenario. If you have not, you should visit the previous unit. Now when you activate your scenario, you will receive bundles of data based off the search module / criteria that was added in the previous unit. In this unit, we are going to take the data and use it to change other parts of your Make Basics use case Google Sheet. Click next. From within your current Make Basics use case scenario, navigate to one of the search rows modules and click add another module. Click Google Sheets. From the list of actions, click update a row. Within your configuration screen, click Make Basics use case from the spreadsheet ID field. As there is only one sheet in here, select sheet 1 under sheet name. So it wants us to add a update a row Google Sheets module after one of our 2 search rows modules, and configure it for the Make Basics use case and sheet 1. So let's just do that real quick. I'm gonna go to the top one, add a module, Google Sheets, update a row, spreadsheet ID will be Make Basics use case, sheet name will be sheet 1, and I believe that's it. Oh, we need a row number. Okay, let's not save that then. I'm gonna click this next slide. You will notice there is a new field to map called row number. If you hover over this item, you will notice that the search rows module behind it will pulsate. This means that the data you are mapping comes from this module. Click the row number field and then map the row number item. This is telling the module which row from the bundle generated in search rows will need updating. So we can map the row number item within the row number value. So if we click on this row number value here, we can map row number here at the top. And you can see that when I hover, this Google Sheet will pulsate because that is the one we're taking the row number from. So I'm just going to click that and it'll map it to the row number. So now I can save it, save the scenario, click next slide. Scroll down your configuration screen. Notice that the values reflect those within your spreadsheet. For example, date in A, temperature in B, etc. Navigate to suggestions and click in the field. By default here, you will be able to map items, but you can also insert text here, or you can do both, depending on the path that you have chosen in your search rows module. Temperature below 19 in clouds, or temperature equal to or above 20. Type a custom message here. Here we have typed, take a jacket, it's going to be cold outside, or this is t-shirt weather, depending on the module. Click OK, and then save your scenario. So it wants us to go into our update a row Google Sheet module And in this suggestion box, it wants us to type a message pertaining to the conditions that we have set. So in this one, we have the less than or equal to 19 temperature or clouds. So that means it's going to be cold, well, colder. So in the suggestion box for this update a row module, we can put too cold for me. Click next slide. Repeat the same steps for your other search rows module, but adjusting the message based on the search criteria. Your scenario should look like the image on the left. Yeah, so we're just going to do the same thing that we did up here for the search rows Google Sheet on the bottom, and change the suggestion to match the weather. So let's just do that real quick. Add another module, Google Sheets, update a row, spreadsheet ID will be make basic use case, sheet name will be sheet 1. We're gonna map row number to row number, and then in the suggestion box, we'll type hotter than you. Click save and save the scenario. And ours should look like this, and I believe it does. And then look, if we go to explain flow, and see that all the information bounces from module to module in the order that it's supposed to. And depending on the criteria, of course, certain information will be filtered out and some will not. So we can now click this next slide. Imagine that you have selected Honolulu as your city, and the temperature there is always higher than 19 degrees. In this case, you won't have any data going through the less than or equal to 19 route. No data is passed to the update a row module, which is expecting a row number, resulting in an error in your scenario. To avoid this, add a filter step between the search rows and update a row module to make sure only bundles that contain a row number are transferred. Click on the connection between the last two modules. Map row number and select basic operators equal to exist. Repeat this for both routes. So we need to add this filter, this row number basic operators filter in between both of our search rows and update a row modules. So here, in between these two modules here, so that we don't get errors if nothing is returned. So basically, because the update a row module is expecting results without a filter, if no results come in, I guess it will result in an error. So we have to have a filter in order to keep that from happening. So I'm gonna left click in between these modules to add a filter. We're gonna label it row number. Condition will be row number, and then change this text operator to a basic operator exists. And then we can save. And then we're gonna do the same thing to this bottom one as well. So left click, row number, and conditions, text operator to basic operator exists. Save that and save the scenario. Okay, now we can click the next slide. The final step is to run the scenario. Select run once to see it execute. Note, on the search rows modules, you specified earlier that only 3 maximum rows will be returned. Therefore, 3 bundles will be returned, and only these 3 bundles will be edited in your spreadsheet. As each update row module is performing 3 actions, 3 operations will be consumed. In your Google Sheet, you should see that the column E has been updated with your suggestions if the criteria was met. This concludes this exercise. Click next to continue. So it actually wants us to run this scenario now. So let's just check our spreadsheet here. We see that there is no extra data here. So now we can run the scenario to see if we actually did it correctly. So I'm gonna click run once. And it looks like we didn't get any errors, so that's good. Check our spreadsheet, and yeah, looks like we actually did get the updates, the suggestion updates. We didn't get anything equal to or less than 19 degrees or clouds. So because all of the temperatures that made it through the filter were above 19 degrees, as you can see here, that's why we didn't get any of the suggestions that said too cold for me, because they needed to be less than or equal to 19 degrees in order for us to get the too cold for me suggestion. That confused me a little bit. I was trying to figure out why these said clouds, but we weren't getting the 19, the too cold for me suggestion. It's because the other condition, right? The conditions that we set in this second path, we said that if it's 20 degrees or greater, then we would give this suggestion, which is hotter than you. And that's why it's not showing hotter than you here, because you didn't meet the criteria of the degrees. And the reason the reason why this doesn't say too cold for me is because this isn't 19 degrees or less. That was a little confusing. So you really have to know like what your criterias mean and like what you're actually filtering out when you're creating these scenarios. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I understood that and you guys understood that before I finished off this course, because I'm pretty sure that is the end of this unit. Oh, just kidding. We have, I think, 1 or 2 more slides. Okay, yeah, this is the last slide. How is this function useful? 3 basic use cases. You have just performed a very basic function, updating a field based on criteria that you have searched for. Let's see where else this could be useful in real life use cases. Payment status. You can use a search module to retrieve the list of users based on their payment status and automate communications with them using a different module. User preferences. We have all received emails in the past that we want to unsubscribe from. Using Google Sheets as your communication platform would be an ideal platform to store this in. If a user is subscribed to a mailing list, send them an email based on a field called subscribed. If they unsubscribe, this row can be updated to reflect this. Tracking user progress. You are based within HR and are responsible for online training. You want to track users' progress through mandatory training. Configuring the search/update a row functions would allow an oversight of users' progress and give you the option to send reminder emails and updates upon completion of courses. Click next, and that's the end of the unit. So yeah, that one was a little bit longer and a little bit more complex, just because we had to do more in the scenario and with the actual configurations of the modules. But this is a good introduction to what we can actually accomplish with these scenarios, because I mean, like, yeah, you can put them there and put them on the actual sheet here, but if you don't know what you're configuring and like what you're trying to do with the scenario, you're just gonna be lost. And yeah, like how I was explaining that last portion, you just really have to make sure that you know what you want your scenario to do and what you want these modules to do. And that's why it's good to use this run this module only feature, so you can see the bundles that you're going to be generating without consuming a whole bunch of operations. But that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of this new basics section so far. I think it's definitely a little bit more complex than the first section, the foundations section, but it's still very, very straightforward, and it tells you exactly what you're trying to do. And you can also troubleshoot and kind of just play around with the scenario to see like what things do what. Like I said, we're not focusing on operations right now unless we start to run out, but I don't think we're at that point yet. But anyways, if you found this interesting or you'd like to see more, please feel free to drop a like, comment your thoughts, or hit that subscribe button. That's going to be it for me for today. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.